Hi, I'm Darren Walker, and this is Inside Louisiana Baseball. Tonight, I'll be joined by Associate Head Coach Anthony Babineaux to discuss the App State Series and preview tonight's matchup with Tulane. Our Louisiana Legacy Series debuts with the Slime and Golf family as Father Teddy and son Theo join us. But first, Dan McDonald breaks down the Cajun Series versus App State tonight on Inside Louisiana Baseball.
Thanks, Darren. Louisiana Ragin Cajun baseball with a 2-3 week and a 1-2 week in Sun Belt Conference play and hosting Appalachian State in that home series. But before they played Appalachian State, a big night on Tuesday night, especially a big night for Hayden Cantrell. Cajuns took an 8-3 win over Northwestern State, and in that game, Hayden Cantrell became only the fourth player in Cajun history to hit for the cycle. And in that game, he walked his first at-bat, but then in the second time up in the third inning, he tripled and scored. Third inning, singled and scored, and then came up in the sixth inning with a solo home run, scoring his third run of the game, and that left him only a double short of the cycle. And then he came up in the eighth inning and delivered that double, scored his final run of the game as Louisiana scored 5 unanswered runs late in that one and ended up winning by a score of 8-3. After going to Tulane on the Wednesday night and dropping that game by a score of 7-4, the Cajuns came back home for a Sun Belt Conference series against Appalachian State. Cajuns had gone 2-1 on the road in conference play, looking to stretch that out. But Appalachian State on the Friday night took a 6-5 win in that one, coming back from a deficit and scoring 5 runs in the last 4 innings. Cajuns made some noise that night. Todd Lott had a solo home run in the third inning. Hayden Cantrell with a solo home run in the fifth. But the visiting Mountaineers scored single runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th to take that game by a score of 6-5. That would come out and end up being a very familiar score on Sunday. But in between those two games, Appalachian State jumps out ahead in the middle game of the series. They led that one 2-1 going to the bottom of the 6th inning. But Louisiana pushes across a big 6-run inning in the 6th. They take advantage of 4 straight walks by Mountaineer pitching. Who else but Hayden Cantrell with a 2-run single in the inning. Brennan Breaux follows with an RBI single also in that 6th. 6-run inning, second biggest inning of the year for Louisiana. And they then hold on at the end and take a 7-4 win in the middle game of the series. That sent it to Sunday for the rubber game between the two teams, one that started early in the morning, 10:30 a.m. baseball at the Teague. Cajuns jumped out to a 4-2 lead. After 5 innings, they scored 2 in the third and then got 2 more in the fifth. Hayden Cantrell with an RBI double after a Nathan Camp single earlier in the inning. They had a 4-2 lead. They stretched that lead to 5-3. Oren Veillon with a solo homer in the 6th inning, and that gave the Cajuns at the time a 5-3 lead. But the Mountaineers with a run in the 7th, and then 2 runs in the 9th on Luke Drumheller's 2-run single from the leading hitter in the Sun Belt Conference. Cajuns made some noise in the bottom of the 9th. They got 2 runners on base. Brennan Breaux hit by a pitch. Todd Lott delivered a single. But then the Appalachian State relief pitcher Caleb Bowman able to get the final out in the bottom of the 9th. Cajuns fall 6-5. So the Cajuns go 1-2 over the weekend, and they even up their conference record at 3-3 in Sun Belt play.
Next on Inside Louisiana Baseball, Associate Head Coach Anthony Babineaux joins us to recap the busy week of Ragin Cajuns baseball.
Look at me in the eye. They bleed just like you bleed. There is no apprehension. There is no fear. Bottom line, they got to come to us to get this done. All right, we decide what happens. We dictate what happens on that field today. Together on three. 1, 2, 3, together.
To perform, you need speed, skill, strength. With every muscle, every move, you push your body to reach its full potential. But sometimes you just can't push through the pain. That's when you know it's time to address it. So when injury puts you on the sidelines, trust us to get you back in the game. Lourdes Sports Care, the team behind your team.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Baseball. This spot would normally be occupied by head coach Tony Robichaux, but we have the next best thing, associate head coach Anthony Babineaux. And coach, we'll get into specifics in just a bit, but overall, just a rough week for you guys. A couple of one-run losses, and looking over the schedule for the entire season, 14 of those losses, you have 8 of them by 2 runs or less. So, I mean, it's just that's going to be hard to deal with.
Yeah, it really is, and that kind of has been, how the season has gone. We've had a lot of games where we've come up just a bit short. Fortunately, there have not been any games where we've just been totally blown out. We've been in just about every game that we've played in, but those 1-run losses, 2-run losses, they're really hard to swallow, because in those types of games, at some point in the game, you've had chances to either get the lead or hold somebody off, and either the pitching staff or the offense or a key miscue on defense just didn't allow that to happen. So, but again, that kind of has been how the season has gone for us so far.
2 midweek games last week. First one was Northwestern State at home. Connor Cook looked pretty good on the mound, but the story of the night was shortstop Hayden Cantrell. Hits for the cycle. I mean, this is a guy who not that long ago was hovering around the 180 batting average, and now he's up to 319. So talk about him a little bit.
Well, he's a great player, first and foremost. And great players, great hitters, when they get in slumps, kind of like he was at the beginning of the year, they don't stay in them too very long, and so we knew it was just a matter of time. Or we hoped for sure that it was just a matter of time before he started swinging the bat a lot better. He is doing that now. You referenced the cycle that he had against Northwestern State. That came just 2 days after he had a 3-homer game against Little Rock, 2 from the left side, 1 from the right side, which was very impressive. So, he's continued with that pace over this past weekend, a couple more home runs, since the cycle game. So, he's really setting the pace for us up at the top of the lineup. Hopefully there'll be some guys that can kind of get on a roll that he's been on. I don't know if you can get on that type of roll, because he's really, really hot right now, but just some guys to kind of step up and up their game a little bit, especially offensively, up and down the lineup. Some guys that are playing because of injured guys, so hopefully guys can step up and be a little more productive for us offensively, so that our offense can flow from inning to inning. What's been tough for us is, for the most part of the season, we've just had a few guys that really have been somewhat consistent. So we go every few innings of being competitive, and then we have some innings where it's just, bing, bang, boom, 7, 8, 9 pitches, and we're right back on the field on defense. Our offensive innings don't last very long because we haven't been productive in certain spots of the lineup. So, if a couple more guys can be a little bit more consistent so that we can be competitive more innings, you have 9 innings that you get to hit in, and it's tough when you're only competitive in 4, sometimes 5 of those innings. You're leaving 3 or 4 innings on the table where you're not really being competitive. So that's one of the areas that we need to improve on.
24 hours later, you're on the road to Tulane, and you falter in that one, lose that one, I believe 7-3. Then you start the App State series on Friday night, and you looked like you were in pretty good control of the game until the later innings, when the bullpen kind of faltered a little bit, and they wound up coming back and winning that one 6-5 in the 9th.
Yeah, and again, we talked about those 1-run, 2-run losses. That's really a lot of times how they've happened for us. We've carried some leads late into ball games. The bullpen has faltered, has not been able to hold leads for us late in the game, but there's, in all of those games, as I mentioned, you can kind of look at each piece and say, yeah, the bullpen didn't hold that lead, but at some point in the game, there was an opportunity for us to tack on a few more runs so that those however many runs that they gave up late possibly wouldn't have mattered as far as the ball game goes. So, but unfortunately, on a Friday night, you surely want to get the weekend off to a good start. We had a great crowd here and carried the lead late, and unfortunately wasn't able to hold it.
Better news on Saturday. Austin Perrin gives you 6+ solid innings, and speaking of 6, in the 6th inning, you get 6 runs. A majority of that came with 2 outs, so
Right.
Good bounce back win.
It really was, and that's what we ask our guys to do all the time after a loss is respond. You got to get back up, you got to keep fighting, and you surely can't quit, and nobody's doing that. So they were able to come back with a really good game on Saturday. You mentioned Austin Perrin. He's been throwing the baseball really well for us. Real consistent this year. He really has. And last year also, played a big part for us last year as a freshman, but he's been throwing it really consistently. This week had a great outing on Sunday at Little Rock, and then backed that up with his appearance on Saturday afternoon. So just glad for Austin and glad for the guys that we were able to come back. You referenced that 6-run inning. Those runs were scored with 2 outs. So that's good to see. Anytime you can score runs with 2 outs and extend the inning and get the next guy up to the plate, you're able to do that. And we took advantage of some free stuff that they gave us in that inning as well. That's another thing that you have to be able to take advantage of. Throughout the season, we've lacked in that area also. We've gotten free bases, walks, hit by pitches, got on because of an error, and have not been able to deliver a lick to get runs across home plate. So again, we've got to get better in that area, but a nice bounce back win on Saturday. You're right.
And then the Sunday was pretty much a carbon copy of Friday, so we'll leave it at that.
It really was. I would be saying the same thing,
right.
That I said about Friday's game. So, but it was, and unfortunately, dropped that series here at home. You hate to lose series here at home. You should at least win 2 out of 3 when you have a series at home, but it didn't happen for us. Now we've got to set our sights to this week. Another tough week, as they all are. Tulane here Tuesday, and then on the road again Thursday for another conference series. So
we'll talk about that in a little bit. But next on Inside Louisiana Baseball, we give you the Louisiana Legacy Series with Teddy and Theo Slyman.
Introducing Sonic's new Car Hop Classic with double the beef, double the cheese, and now double the choices. Try quarter-pound double cheeseburger or slinger with tots for just $2.99. Get them now, ending soon.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, laughing God will help you show it. If you're happy and you know it, mange.
Crunchy Fritos, warm, melty cheese, all together for 99 cents.
It's like a warm chili cheese Fritos family reunion.
Yeah, I feel warm just thinking about it.
That's the chili. I feel it too.
Hurry in for Sonic's Fritos Chili Cheese Faves starting at 99 cents and try order ahead to get happy hour anytime.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Baseball. Time now for the debut of the Louisiana Legacy Series with the father and son golf duo of Teddy and Theo Slyman.
Golf is, it goes very deep in our family. It starts with my grandfather, Teddy Slyman Sr., or Theodore Slyman Sr., and then passed on. He had quit playing golf by the time I was born. Arthritis took over his hands, and he really couldn't. Never seen him swing a club, but he watched us play a lot of golf. And then obviously my Teddy Slyman, or Theodore Slyman Jr., my father, is who taught me the game. And what a bond it has been all of our life. It was a big part of the reason I came play golf here as a student athlete was to stay close to my dad. He was my teacher and my best friend. And golf, parenthood had something to do with that, but the bonding of golf, a lot of memories, spent hours upon hours upon hours on a golf course. I didn't really have summer vacations per se. We'd do a Disney trip a lot, but outside of that, I wasn't the beach bum or following all the friends there. It was chasing a white ball around tournament golf and then spending every day at the golf course with Dad.
To see him become a college coach and wanting to do the same things that, I taught him and raised him to be and do, and yeah, it's very fulfilling. It's rewarding for me, and I see it in him, in his eyes and in his heart.
Having a father-son combination, I guess, both serve as head coaches for the same team here at the university. I think it stands for, that to me stands for not only Teddy Slyman Jr. and Theo Slyman III coaching, but we also had Bill and Bob Bass, two father-sons, and I think that stands for the culture of the Cajun culture, and it shows keeping it in the family per se. It's a testament to the Cajun culture of family, of faith, of bonding there. To be able to say that I'm doing a career that my father did, that means a lot, especially in the sport of golf.
Seeing my son coach college golf and me doing it it's amazing, And he also the fact that Coach Bass, he was coach when I was a college player. He was a coach here. So, and then, of course, his son Bob being my son's coach. It's all in the family, man. I mean, it shows the family traditions and heritage and roots right here in Acadiana and at Oakbourne Country Club.
I was very young. It was in '86, so to date me, I'm 39, so I was born in '79, so I was 6 and 7 years old. And it's hard to really remember way back then, but I remember the golfers. I remember him in uniform. I didn't spend much time with him at practice, but it was looked up to him for sure. A coach. Still today lean on him for advice, no doubt. I remember vividly early on when I first started coaching that I would call him with questions, and then he would reminisce, and it was fun to see his twinkle in his eye saying, I went through some same problems. I remember this incident with this player breaking a club and right in front of me, and I didn't know what to do, and it's nice. We speak regularly about the team, and he's one of our biggest fans. He's constantly, pushing me to push them. Now, he coached, I'm gonna pick on him, '86 to 2018. Times are a little bit different, maybe the way the culture of the young guys, but most definitely the main focus is working hard. He instilled a work ethic in me by watching him pertaining to golf, and he constantly reminds me that I need to instill that into these young men.
He still calls me and I give him advice, but like I said earlier, it's such a totally different game now, I mean, the game of golf's still the same, you gotta work hard, you gotta practice, you gotta, do the things that get you to be a better player. But, the technology and all of this stuff, I mean, it's astounding what they have right there in those hitting bays available at their fingertips to tone their game, But, just doing what he's doing is rewarding in itself.
It's a father-son relationship, but it goes a lot further. It's a friendship. It's more than a father-son relationship. Yeah, it's a bond. It's a friendship. He's my best friend.
Next on Inside Louisiana Baseball, Associate Head Coach Anthony Babineaux rejoins us to preview tonight's matchup with Tulane and this weekend's series at Sunbelt foe Troy.
Sonic's Fritos Chili Cheese Faves, a Fritos Chili Pie, Juicy Junior Burger, or Junior Wrap. Does all this comfort come at a price? Yes, it starts at 99 cents. Hurry in for Sonic's Fritos Chili Cheese Faves.
Truly, there is something for everyone here, from moving image arts to nursing to petroleum engineering to education to voice to photography to political science to anthropology to sociology. I can't list the almost hundreds of opportunities that students have to find the perfect fit and the major that best represents what they would love to do.
We have alternate certification programs, master's programs, doctoral programs, in addition to hybrid and online classes. So a student can definitely find his or her passion as far as what they want to do.
Not only are we going to find the major that is the best fit for our students, but we're going to make sure they graduate. We have one of the highest graduation rates in the state, and among our student athletes, in fact, we have the highest in the Sun Belt Conference.
Knowing that UL Lafayette has one of the top graduation rates in the state makes me feel much more secure in my decision to come here, and it makes me feel very excited and confident for my time after I leave campus.
We have everything here to be able to make sure that the students have the support they need as they go through the process. From a writing center that'll look over papers and proofread them for you, to free tutoring services that students can walk in on demand and say, physics is not my thing, can you please give me a little bit of help? We have prep classes for the GRE, we have prep classes for the LSAT, we look at medical school and pre-med and law school and business school, we have MBA programs, we have many PhD programs so that students can further their education as they progress.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Baseball, joined once again by Associate Head Coach Anthony Babineaux. And it's time to look at the week ahead. You get Tulane at home. That game coming up on CST as soon as this show is over at 6:30. I know that when we talk about looking at upcoming opponents with you guys, the answer is typically it's really not about them, it's about us. So is it about you guys or is it about the Green Wave?
Well, the Green Wave happens to be our opponent, but really every game it is about us. It's about controlling the things that you can control, trying to do well what we do well, taking advantage of what the opponent gives us. So it really is about us. Obviously, you've got to scout the opponent and you've got to stop the opponent, and things like that. But really, I think every coach would tell you that. I know I've heard this from plenty of coaches. It's about what we do. We don't really concern ourselves that much with the opponent because, we're playing against ourselves. We've got to try to play as perfect as we can, take advantage of opportunities. So at the end of the day, it really is, it's about us.
You're going to Troy this weekend, and there's some similarities between you guys. They're 1-5 in conference play. But that one win was a 10-8 win over Coastal Carolina, who's a quality team. So is it more, again, about the Ragin Cajuns or the Troy Trojans? Two hungry teams, I would imagine.
Definitely two hungry teams, for us, it's about the Ragin Cajuns. I mean, the Ragin Cajuns have to continue to improve in order to play beyond the conference tournament. We have dug ourselves in a little bit of hole as far as the entire season is concerned with at-large possibilities, but our goal of winning the conference championship is still right in front of us. We're 3-3, should be a little bit better than that, but we're 3-3, so we've got to go from here. Go on into Troy. We have had a lot of success in Troy. We've got a good history there at that ballpark. It's a very conducive ballpark for hitting. So hopefully that will be the same when we go back this year. We need to draw on that past success. There's a few players on this roster that have played in that park. So, hopefully we can go in there and have a good weekend and kind of get a little bit above 500, which is what we are now in conference, finish that weekend, hopefully with a 2 out of 3. That's always the goal, especially when you go on the road of getting 2 out of 3. So hopefully take care of business tonight against Tulane and then head down to Troy, Alabama and get after it this weekend.
Let's talk a little bit about the potential of Gunnar Legier's return. His absence is really having to shift some things around, not only on the weekends, but the weekdays as well. So where do we stand on him?
Well, you know, the thing with Gunnar, unfortunately, it's kind of wait and see each week, you know, how his arm responds to his last outing. You know, I don't know if it's going to be a situation where he pitches 1 week, skips the next, pitches 1 week. When he does come back, it may be a situation where he works out of the bullpen for us for a couple innings to try and build up some tolerance, you know, because to date, he hasn't been able to get beyond that 5-inning mark, you know, at around that area of the ball game is where that forearm kind of starts to tighten up a little bit, and he really can't go anymore. So, and then some weeks it's felt better than others. So it's just really kind of how he feels, but it has shifted some things, and it's made it tough because, you know, if he can't go, then we've got to move guys up, move guys around, and you're right, it does affect things in the midweek because there's an arm that we would like to throw in the midweek, potentially, that we can't throw or can't throw as much as we'd like because if Gunnar's not going on Friday night, then that shortens us for the weekend, so we've got to have that guy for the weekend. So, you know, it does pose some problems, but it is what it is. It's you know, it's someone's arm, it's someone's health, and you know, if he's not healthy enough or doesn't feel well enough to pitch, then that's not going to help us either, you know. So, you know, hopefully we can have him for the remainder of the season. I know he will pitch again this season. At what point, whether it be this Friday night, some point this weekend, the next week, you know, that's yet to be determined. But I do think at some point this weekend, this year, he'll pitch. And he wants to pitch. Trust me, he wants to get out on that mound and help his team. He's such a competitor. You know, he knows this is the last season for him. There's no more trying to get a red shirt or getting any more time, you know, because, you know, that happened last year. So nobody wants to get out there on that mound and help his team more than Gunnar Legier does.
All right, well, Coach, thanks for the insight and thanks for filling in. Coming up next on Inside Louisiana Baseball, we'll take a look at the upcoming week's schedule.
All this for the Steakhouse Bacon Cheeseburger?
The smoky black pepper mayo deserve at least the full steakhouse treatment.
Very impressed.
Someone just walked in. We only have one tablecloth.
The Steakhouse Burger and Tots for only $4.99. Get them now and try order ahead to get happy hour anytime.
The Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, the highly recognized mark of distinction in college athletics across all divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow your favorite team's pursuit for excellence in this prestigious annual award through thedirectorscup.com, USA Today, or L Directors Cup on Twitter. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics since 1993.
The Steakhouse Bacon Cheeseburger from Sonic. Crispy bacon, melty cheese, black pepper mayo, and grilled onions. No reservations required. The Steakhouse Burger and Tots for only $4.99. Get them now.
Look at me in the eye. They bleed just like you bleed. There is no apprehension. There is no fear. Bottom line, they got to come to us to get this done. All right, we decide what happens. We dictate what happens on that field today. Together on three. 1, 2, 3, together.
We thank you so much for joining us for this first episode of Inside Louisiana Baseball. We leave you now with a look at the upcoming schedule for the Ragin Cajuns.